Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss the topic of friction and its types. It's the fifth lecture of chapter 3 of ninth physics. The topic friction. So what is meant by friction? Friction is basically the resistive force. It is basically the resistive force which opposes the motion of an object, while in contact with its surrounding, with its surrounding, while its surrounding. So it is basically the type of resistive force which opposes the motion of an object while in contact when it is moving or when it is at rest or in stationary position. So it's basically the resistive force. So force is a vector for quantity, so its nature is vector. In notation, it is represented by the frictional force is represented by small f. The frictional force is represented by small f. Now since it's a force, so its unit is Newton, represented by capital N. Now here we are going to discuss its types. So friction is it's the general definition of friction, that it is basically the resistive force when the object is in contact with its surrounding. So in two situations, the object is in contact with that of the surrounding. The first thing when the object is in stationary, then in that situation it is also in contact with that of its surrounding and with the other surface. And when a body is moving, in that situation it is also in contact with that of the other surface. So we have different concepts with respect according to the frictional types. We are going to explain it one by one. That when a body is stationary, then the resistive force between the surface of that object and the other surface, the resistive force between these two surfaces, that will be what kind of resistive force. And when a body is moving, then in that situation what kind of resistive force will work against the motion of an object. So the first is when an object is in stationary, so the frictional force between these two surfaces will be called the kinetic friction. So kinetic friction when can be defined as the force of friction. Static friction is cleared from the name that static friction, it is basically that type of, or you can say the frictional force, type of frictional force acting on a body. Frictional force acting on a body when the body is at rest, when the object is, or when acting on a body, when the frictional force, it is that type of frictional force acting on a body when the body is at rest, Now the second one, that is the kinetic friction. The second, it is represented by F is, that kind of frictional force is represented by small f with the subscript of S. Now kinetic friction. So it is basically that kind of frictional force. The frictional force the frictional force acting against the motion of an object, and it is represented by, and kinetic friction is represented by Fk. The further explanation, these fraction and its types and its graphical interpretation will be explained in next video. Dear students, if you are facing any kind of difficulty in such topic, then your response will be highly appreciated. Thanks for watching.